Sit. You gotta start starting higher. I mean, we're already at an 80 right now.
Okay.
You know, I know it was at a 20 when you handed it to me.
Yeah.
And it's like we were talking about last time, it's not that I want to work really high, but every single time we've worked her so far, she's wound up in that range because she's so stoic about her response to it, you know? So the problem is if we're always starting low and every time we come here, we're starting high, well, the reason why she's so behaved when she's here and she ignores the other dogs and stuff is because we're high. So she's not going to be as good at home. And I'm obviously happy that you're seeing progress in the right direction with the reactivity, but still, the fact that she's still showing someone she's getting startled and stuff is probably just due to the fact that the level's too low. So she's still like when you get caught off guard, you're way too low, and then you got to turn up too high, and it's just a mess.
Okay.
You know? Okay, come on. Try one more of these. Let's go. Sit. Good. Good job. Okay. All right, so that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do actually is because she's so trying to get to you here, we're actually going to focus on some recall stuff today as opposed to that. So what I want to do here is I want to start to teach her when she feels the e-collar pressure to come to me, obviously, because this we need to start to obviously do away with some of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously create some distance, walk to the end of the leash. I'm going to give my come command, and if she doesn't come, what I'm going to do is press and hold the button, help her to me, and release when she turns to come to me, right?
Okay.
Come. And release. And then if she redirects back, I would repeat that process there. So same deal, come, press and hold, release. There you go. And I'm going to keep doing this until she starts to give me a little more attention. Come, press and hold, come on, release. Come. There you go. And that's a little bit closer there. That's what I want to start to see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep kind of working against the distraction that is you. So I'm going to come back over this way, create my distance, come. Good. And that was no e-collar that time. Same deal, come. No e-collar that time. Good. Come. Good. I'm going to do that process a couple of times. And already she's kind of turning with me and stuff. Come. Same deal, e-collar and release. Very good. Come. Good. Come. Good. There you go. Okay. A couple more of those. Let's see what we get. Getting a little bit more attention now and stuff as well. Very good. Come.
Knock you over.
Yeah. It's like, boom. Come. Good. And all I'm doing right now is creating my target, right? So we're doing a bunch on the short leash, so I don't really care. If she just follows me, that's fine. I care about when I stop and say, come, come. Does she end in the correct spot? Because I always say the recall command is not so much the act of the dog like moving towards me, but it's the position of them being next to me, right? So as I'm doing this, come. Little e-collar right there. I want to make sure she has a clear target, because if I could have the target really good from 4 feet away, changing to 50 feet away or 500 feet away or whatever is effortless, because they know where they need to end. Come. Good. So what I want you to do is you're going to create the distance just like I was doing. Come to a stop. Say come. And I want her to come and stabilize next to you. Now that doesn't mean sit her down necessarily. That means come to a stop. So essentially what she's doing right now. Press and hold. Give help towards you. There you go. Now same deal. Create distance. Come to a stop. Say come. Same deal, create distance, come to stop, say come. So we're trying to get your mechanics down first here, then we'll worry about what she's obviously doing it well right now, right? but we're just trying to get you getting the hang of how we're looking to do this. So we stop to give the target, right? Then we give the command to get the dog to the target, and then we wait just to stabilize them there, right? Okay. So try a couple more here.
Come.
Very good. Perfect. Go ahead and do another one.
She doesn't have to go down.
No. She just needs to come and stabilize next to you. So just come to a complete stop. Okay. So next what we're going to do is I'm going to put the long line on her, and I'll show you how this starts to come together. Okay, so with this one, same process. So I'm not going to do anything different, but I'm going to create more distance, right? So like we were talking about, once we have our target established, we should be able to pretty successfully add distance into the mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk to the end of this line, and you can stay right where you're at. I'm going to say, come. From there, I'm going to press and hold, help to me, and then release the second she starts coming to me. So not on the e-collar at all. If she comes to a stop, what I'm going to do is press and hold again. Watch your foot. Press and hold. Release when she starts coming to me again. And I'm going to continue to repeat that process until she gets all the way to me. So same deal. Press and hold. Good. There we go. And then once she gets all the way to me, I'll stop for a second, let her stabilize, do the same process again. Now, the reason why the first couple of repetitions they go like spot, spot, spot is because she's only used to going this amount of space anyways, so she's got to realize that end goal is what we're still looking for here. Come. Good. So obviously that time, much better. And then again, same deal here. What I'm doing is creating my distance, coming to a stop, come, giving my command, and then waiting for the stabilization. Again, that's just her stopping moving. Perfect. Create my distance, come, give my command, wait for stabilization, create my distance, come. Good. Come. Good. Okay. All right, you're up. There you go. There you go. So hold just the end of that leash, and you're going to do the same process here. And don't overthink the long line. She'll step over it if it's under her feet or anything. Very good. Is the extra wiggle recall?
Yeah. You want me to tell her to sit or anything? Or?
No. Nothing's changing. We're just walking a little further away in between reps. And if she just follows you, again, totally fine. You can kind of keep walking around until you lose her a little bit. Very good. And start walking again.
Come.
There you go. Catching yourself.
Yeah.
Keep doing a few more of those.
You're getting in trouble. Come.
Perfect. As your best rep yet. Your timing was good with the e-collar, with the command, with the stopping. Very good. Go ahead and take the leash from you. And the e-collar from you. All right, so next what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start to turn this into like an implied stay as well. So have how we did our downs last time, and any stationary position we've talked about, so we don't use stay. Any command given means to maintain command until given otherwise. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be giving that come command and teaching that as staying with us as we're moving, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my distance. I'm going to tell her, come. There you go. Make sure she comes all the way to me. Good. Once she gets to me, I'm going to start moving. And at this point, as I'm walking, if she stops following me, what I'm going to do is re-engage the collar and then release when she starts following me again. So what we're trying to do is essentially turn this into like an off-leash heel. So right here, e-collar's on, come. Yeah, she's tired. So same deal, come. Re-engaging right there. Once she gets back to me, moving again. So I'll give her back to you there. Give you that. So with this one, you're not going to come to any stop. You're just going to keep walking around. And obviously if she stops following you, that's when you're going to re-engage the e-collar. Now, all I care about is that she's following. Looking pretty good. Go ahead and do one more big lap around here. Cool, go ahead and bring her on over here. And come to a stop and put her into a stationary position, and she's already there. Okay. Oh. I'm gonna have you go ahead and pop this back on her real quick, and then you can take off that long line. And you could attach that back to her prong. No, I only put that on so that if she stepped on it, she wasn't like correcting herself. You gotta find the end for it. Very good. I'll take that from you. Okay. So, the sit stays, like we had talked about, I would switch to just telling her sit, right? And that will help. You know, at some point she's going to realize she doesn't have to lay down, and it's going to switch back into a sit, and then you'll be fine. Okay. And probably at home you'll see that she'll be a little bit more comfortable and get into that sit, you know. Okay. But yeah, I'm with you on that. If she's having issues with her joints and stuff like that, or whatever it may be, then you don't have to make her fully lay down in those situations. So, and you also could be aware of how much you practice those exercises too, right? With any dogs that I have that have any sort of like joint issues or anything, I don't work on them anywhere near as much, you know. Duration work and stuff, instead of doing a bunch of repetitions, usually what I'll do is I'll do like 2 or 3 like long sit stays or down stays where they could like just relax into it, and really the only criteria at that point is that they don't get up, right? So I would say maybe that you could work on way less of them and stuff, and kind of just go that route with it. As far as the recall is concerned, you want to work on it on the short line, then move to the long line, right? If you're doing it in like your yard or somewhere, you probably can get away with doing it without the leash, but the first couple of sessions, try to have something on just in case she gets confused so you can give some help with it, right? Okay. Just really focus on the timing with that, right? And don't worry about what she's doing. Everybody gets thrown off from this one particularly because the dog follows them most of the time, so they're like, what do? I got to try to get them to stop and this and that, right? But just keep in mind, again, this has nothing to do with what she's doing. It just has to do with your shaping it, right? So if she follows you, just like you're seeing how we made that the criteria, she's doing the right thing, right? She's still doing come. We just want to create enough distance where she could hear the word before she gets to us, right? That's the point of that, is that we just, and even if you need to like run away from her basically initially, it's like, we're just getting a couple feet away just so I could say come, then have her get to me, right? Say come, have her get to me. Yeah, so it's so that we're conditioning in that word, right? So work on that one that way, and then, like I said, I think most of your issues you're having, if you're still having some reactivity issues, is just that level, like we talked about last time. You got to keep striving to work higher on it because you're not going to need to use it very much if you do, right? How is?
So eventually, just not need to have an e-collar. I mean, is that the goal eventually?
No, I still use them with my dogs.
You do? Okay.
I got 4 e-collars sitting in my car right now.
Okay.
I use them with my. It's no different than you're always going to put a leash on her when you're out with her, you know.
Okay.
I always want to make sure that I have a tool on that's going to give me the best possible chance of communicating, right?
I mean, she definitely knows to act better when that collar comes on.
Yeah, of course. So the first step before we even worry about fading out tools should be, can we get the behavior under control? That's always what I say, right? Like can we get the behavior under control? Because if we can, then really, if it really is as simple as just put the e-collar on and the dog listens, man, that seems like a pretty easy solution, right? Okay. So then the goal is to make some of these behaviors or commands or whatever they may be like habitualized, right? So has she done this successfully enough, long enough, where it's like second nature to her? Right. You know what I mean? Where she's not even thinking about reacting to the dog because she knows everything. This is just what I do. You know what I mean?
I know what second nature is right now.
Yeah. And that's just it, right? We're turning second nature from I freak out every time I see dogs to I walk calmly past other dogs or whatever it may be. And that doesn't happen overnight, right? That takes time because it's a strongly ingrained habit that she has, right? And then even from like an obedience standpoint, I always say with my dogs, it probably was like 6 to 8 months of like consistency before they were reliable with or without tools, you know? And they always get there as long as you're consistent enough, but the more that you try to jump the gun on working without the tools or trying to do things without the e-collar, stuff like that.
Wonder, well, like, what is the end result?
Well, the end result is just that we have a way to get her to do these things successfully, right? Whether that's with or without e-collar, right? And then long term is that, yeah, the stuff becomes habitualized where she should do it with or without, but at that point what we do is we use the e-collar like our insurance policy, right? You always put a seatbelt on when you get in the car, not because you think you're a terrible driver and are going to get into an accident every day, but just in case, right? I always put the e-collar on like when I'm off leash or having a bunch of people come over my house or going to a busy public place, not because I'm expecting for my dog to be poorly behaved in that situation, but in case they start acting up, I know I can communicate quickly and keep them under control, right? So that's kind of the end goal, is that we get them to that point where we're not reliant on the tool per se, but we still have it just in case, right? To keep things sharp, because you're inevitably always going to run into situations where, you know, she tries something here or there. I mean, with my dogs, like I'll take them somewhere and they'll, you know, I don't know, do something dumb, right? And, you know, I need to communicate, hey, that's something that you can't do still, right? They're always going to try it. And the more times you run into situations where they try that thing and you're not in a position to enforce it, the more they're like, this works again, you know? So we want to hit that point, obviously, where, you know, they're trying it as minimally as possible, but we're positioning ourselves then in the higher distraction situations to be able to address those things right away, right? Does that make sense?